And I know I have to hover over you, Lee.
Yes, so go to participants.
Oh, I found the 3 dots now for you.
Okay.
I'll make you the co-host. I do want you to co-host the meeting. So Lee is a presidential director in Nutrimetics. Lee has been both on the corporate side of Nutrimetics and really, really loves the field side of Nutrimetics, loves being a consultant, a group leader, a senior group leader, a sales manager, a executive sales manager, a sales director, ESD, and presidential director. And we wear many hats. But one of the most important hats that we wear is being a consultant. And Lee never forgets that. She's absolutely stunning, as you can see on stage. There's Billy. I'm happy now. Billy's joined us. And as you can see on the screen tonight, and Lee is not only very smart and intelligent, but if there's some tables that I can choose to be on at a dinner, at a conference or anywhere else, I will run and get a chair on Lee Ahrens' table because she is absolutely so witty and so hilarious. So you have built so many people in this business, Lee, with your leadership, with your inspiration, and you inspired me during the week when we talked about really creating a bright future and talked about the opportunity for October, November, and December. So over to you, Lee. Thank you.
Thanks, Louise. They're awfully big words to live up to. So it's very nice to be here and very nice to be part of this group tonight. And particularly as we're going to be talking about Christmas. I can't see everyone, but I wonder if you could just put your hands up if this is your first Nutrimetics Christmas. No hands. Okay, so really I could just about go now, couldn't I? Because if you've already worked a Nutrimetics Christmas, you should have it down pat. But I guess the question is our Nutrimetics Christmas shaping up to be the Nutrimetics Christmas that we want it to be? Or more importantly, do we even know what we want our Nutrimetics Christmas to be? Have we stopped to think about what we want our Nutrimetics Christmas to be? Now, I have done some slides, and while Louise thinks I'm really witty and funny, my slides are really boring. But I just wanted to have the words on the screen. So don't be looking for fancy schmancy fly around graphics or anything, but I think the content is where the excitement is, not the graphics. So I am just going to, if you give me a moment, go to that one, and hopefully, there we go. Oh, see, I love it when it works. So you can see that. Yes, excellent. So the very first thing I want to talk about when I talk about Christmas is money, because I love talking about money when I talk about Nutrimetics. And it's not because I'm greedy, and it's not because of any other reason except that money is, someone says money doesn't make you happy. And money doesn't make you happy, but my gosh, you're miserable when you don't have it. So while that is absolutely true, let's look at what Nutrimetics can do for us to make our Christmas, and not just our Christmas, but our Christmas and the Christmas for those we love, a happy Christmas and a wonderful Christmas, and a Christmas that you feel really good about your achievement of. So the first thing that I want to, I think I have to do this to change the slide. There we go. First thing that I just want to talk about is about knowing what your pay rate is. So with Christmas, you can be paid a whole lot of different ways, and you can be paid at a whole lot of different rates. Now, I always think if I've got the choice of being paid at $10 an hour, $20 an hour, $100 an hour, wouldn't I be silly to choose anything other than $100 an hour? If I'm asked to do the same work, I think so. So I want you to think about, firstly, what would extra money do for you and those you love this Christmas? So I want you quickly just to jot down 3 things that might be different for you if you had some extra disposable money available this Christmas for you and your family. Just 3 things. Now, if anyone's brave enough to unmute themselves and share one or all of those things, let's do that.
I'll start, Lee. I never usually
Thanks,
jump
Catherine.
in.
Thanks.
So if I had extra money, I would want to pay off some extra debt that I've incurred over the last couple of months. Because I had to move house quickly, so I've just had some debt build up there.
Yep.
Have a better Christmas than what's sort of currently on the plans. So, you know, if you had that little bit of extra money, you can clear all that up as well.
What does better look like, though? Better's a funny word. So what does better look like?
Probably more food and a few more gifts for everybody.
Right.
And number 3 would just be spending some more quality time with the family instead of having to worry about working that little bit extra.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a much nicer Christmas, doesn't it? You're not worrying about debt. You've got more food, you've got a few extra presents, and you're not having to race off to work. You can spend some more time with your family. How does it make you feel, Catherine, when you think about that?
It makes you feel really good if you have that available.
Okay, good show. Anyone else like to share?
Yep, me.
Yes, Marilyn.
To have more money earning in the next 3 months before Christmas would make me feel more relaxed at Christmas time and leading up to it. Some nicer presents for my children and my grandchildren, and some nicer food and wine. Oh,
I like the addition of the wine. I'll be at your place. Thanks, Maz. And how do you feel when you think about that extra Christmas?
Yeah, I feel more relaxed about it, but also more energetic about working toward that goal that I'm going to achieve.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for sharing. But I think we get the general idea. And I'm sure if I went around to each of you, it would be something very similar. And very rarely is it just about us, is it? You know, earning that extra money is not about what it does for us. It's about what it does for others, with the presents, with the food, with the time to be spent with them. And really the reward that we get is being in a position to be able to provide that. So when you think about your goals, whether it's your goal for Christmas or any goal, really tap into who is really benefiting from me achieving this goal. Because sometimes we get all wrapped up in the me and the I of it, and we forget the real reason that we do this isn't for the me and the I, it's for the everyone else, the ones that we love. And that's when your goals become really powerful. And that's when you really discover your inner passion about your goal. Because it's very easy. If I'd asked and said, what does Christmas mean extra for you? And you said, oh, well, I'd have an extra $500. I could buy a pair of shoes. If I had an extra $1,000, I could buy a pair of shoes and a new outfit. Then if things start to go a bit pear-shaped or they get a bit tough, it's very easy to say, oh, look, I don't really need those new shoes, or I don't really need that new outfit. But when you really tap into what's important to you and you build it on your core value system, then it's a bit harder to say, oh, I really don't want my kids to have good Christmas presents, or, oh, yeah, I'm happy if we don't have food for Christmas this year. It's just, you can't do that, can you? So see how much more powerful your goals are when you really align them with your core value system and tap into the emotion that's attached to them. So the next thing I want you to do, and we're not going to have time to actually do all of this tonight, so just jot it down. And I do have this as a sheet that I'll send to Louise and she can post it up as well. But the next thing to do is to have a look at what it is that you want and add to it some things like Louise said, like work out what it's going to cost you to go to conference in February. Don't be surprised in January because you know it's coming in February. So build it in to the extra income you want to earn over the next few months. And that's not a selfish thing because that's then not being an impost on your family because you're going to have earned that extra money. And trust me, being at conference will give you skills that you will continue to be able to provide the things for the people you love that make life that bit better. So build that into how much you want to earn over this period. And then do you actually know how to calculate your rate of pay? I get constantly surprised by people in our business who don't know how they get paid. And I think if you worked at any other job, you would find out how you got paid, probably before you even started. I think it's essentially a really important thing. So I'm not going to talk about the charts with when you do from 0 to 50, when you do from that up to 4999, from 4999 to 9. You can find those, and your uplines have got those, and I'm sure you've had that training. But I just want to look at it a slightly different way, because it might just gel in a slightly different way. Just trust that I've got the calculations right. I am a bit of a left brain, so I do know how to work a calculator, and the calculations are right. They look a bit shocking at times, but they're right. So when, oops-a-days, go back, I'm spoiling all my surprises. I'm a bit trigger happy there. So when you're shown how to earn an extra 500,000, 3,000 or more, then is your interest sharpened a little? Is your curiosity piqued? You're starting to think, maybe I'll listen a little harder. Well, that's why I wanted to talk about this up front before I even talk about ideas on what to do at Christmas. Because if I just talk about different things you can do, you'll listen and go, yeah, that sounds nice. That sounds nice. Yeah, I heard something similar to that last year or the year before or the year before. But if you relate it back to, these are the activities I can choose from in order to provide the things I wrote down on my sheet, then you get a bit more excited about it, trust me. So we're going to have just a quick look. Now, I've based this on some pretty basic figures, and my colleagues will agree. I certainly haven't exaggerated anything. So let's have a look at showing your Christmas range. We'll talk about a few different ways that you can show your Christmas range in a minute. But firstly, I just want to talk about showing your Christmas range. So if you choose to show your Christmas range just once a week to 2 customers, so you might invite them to come to you, you might go to them, you might do that online. So is there anyone here who thinks they couldn't at least show their Christmas range to 2 people a week? Because if you don't think that, then for God's sake, don't buy a preview pack. Save yourself that money. But I think you're on this call because you are more active and you would do that. So when you show your Christmas range once a week to just 2 customers, a low average would be $200 in sales a week. And that would give you $200 in earnings, which would be $50 every time you go out and do that. Now, you can work out your own hourly rate. I know some people are really efficient at doing that. When you get to know me well, you know I love a chat. So my hourly rate's probably a bit less than somebody else's hourly rate, but you can determine how long you spend doing that. If we look at a higher average, which would be 350 in sales, and certainly being Christmas, 350 in sales from showing product to 2 customers, Lucia, would you agree that's not an exaggeration? In fact, it's probably still a low average. If you were to look at that higher average, then you'd be earning 420, and then that would be $105 per booking. So already you can see a jump just from the low average to the high average. So ask a question of, how do I move myself from a low average to a high average consultant? And really, that's just a bit of practice. The more of these you do, the higher your average becomes. It's a bit like magic, really. So you don't have to go to the University of Nutrimetics. You don't have to go to Toastmasters. You don't have to do anything special. You just have to do. And the more you do, the higher your average climbs, but also the more you do, the more money you earn. So if you were to do exactly the same thing and show that Christmas range twice a week to 2 customers, so you're still only going out or jumping online twice a week, look at the difference that makes. Can you see that? So all of a sudden your earnings have jumped not to 400 because you've doubled your activity, but to 480. Because of course we have increments in our commission plan. So the more you do, the more you earn as a basic percentage factor as well. So now $60 every time you go out instead of 50. But when you're working on your higher average, it jumps up to $122 every time you go out. That's by showing the Christmas range twice a week to 2 customers. let's really jump that up now and show the Christmas range 3 times a week to 2 customers. And honestly, that's still not a part-time job, is it? Like, if we're getting real about this, if you had a part-time job, you'd be working more hours than it takes to show your Christmas range 3 times a week. Yep. But look at the earnings you get. You certainly get more than people that spend 20 hours or so at a part-time job. So even on a low average, you'd be earning $840, which is $70 every time you went out. On your higher average, $157.50 every time you go out. Now, how many hours would a lot of your friends have to work if they're doing a part-time job to earn $157.50? More than the 2 hours it would take you to do this, even with a chat. Because that's a pretty high hourly rate when you break that down to an hourly rate. Okay, so I told you the slide wasn't exciting, but what's exciting is what you could earn. Okay, any questions at this point? Because I'm happy for this to be interactive. Or anything you don't understand? No? Very good. If you do have questions, of course, sometimes you get a bit embarrassed by saying, how did you calculate that, or how does that work? Please ask your upline manager, because we're always more than happy to explain how these commission earnings work. But this is where I get really, really excited. This is where I get excited because let's say we go out once, twice, or 3 times a week. But instead of targeting 2 people, because that's just what we used to call a U+2, we can call them anything we like, but a U+2 is a U+2, it's U+2 people. So that's, pretty easy thing to do, not difficult at all. You talk to someone and say, I'd love to come around and show you the Christmas range. And I usually say, and I've got a gorgeous hand cream that I'm happy to give you if you have a girlfriend there, because it saves me going out another time. I can kill 2 birds with the 1 stone. So very easy to get to there. Now we're going to talk about having a group there. And I'm not even talking about a big group. I'm talking about a group of 5. And that's not difficult. It's less than the amount. Well, I say 5 because it's usually the amount that fits around their dining table by the time they sit there and I sit there too. Okay, so it's enough girls to sit around your table. And we're going to have a look at what happens when we do that once, twice, or 3 times. Okay. So we're spending the same amount of time. That's really important. We're spending the same amount of time to do it for a group of 5 as we would for a group of 2. So if we do it once a week, our low average there would give us 300 in earnings, or 75 each time we went out. So that for each of that once a week, we would jump that up from 7 to 75 from the 50 that it was, if you remember, when it was with 2. But with our higher sales, look at the jump that is now. It goes up to 350 per booking, which is totally wrong, totally not right. Let me work that out. I just looked at that and said, no, that's not right. It's 350 divided by 4. It's 87.50 per booking. No, I think, sorry, 1,400 divided by, we're doing it once a week, 4 occasions. 1,400 divided by 4. Well, once a week. Yeah, it is 350. That's a huge jump, isn't it? That's why I had to check it. Because when you're doing your sales of $875 a week, multiply that by 4, you're going to be earning $1,400. And on $1,400, that works out to $350 every time you've walked out that door. Okay, now we're going to jump it to 2. I keep pressing a button here that I shouldn't when I try to move your faces out of my way. When we jump up to twice a week, you can see there twice a week showing to 5 gives you 1,800 in earnings at a high average 3,150 in earnings. And look at how much each time you walk out the door. And 3 times a week gives you 2,700 in earnings, or at a higher average. And trust me, when you're doing 3 of these a week, you'll be operating at much higher than that, because we often say our average for our Christmas parties is $1,000 or more. And that's not unusual with a Christmas party. I've based this on a $750. Okay. So 4,725 in earnings. That's $590 every time you leave the house. Now, I don't know too many women who earn that much per hour while remaining upright. That was a joke. Anyway, so that is an enormous amount of money that we have an opportunity to earn. Would you agree? And is anyone starting to get a little bit of a flutter of excitement when they look at that? Because I do. I get excited, not for me, I get excited for you, because if this is something you haven't considered before, I think when Catherine reports back to me, and I want her to, that she's had a really relaxed Christmas, she's had great food, extra presents for her kids, she hasn't worried about the debt she incurred moving house because that's been paid off, and she's been able to take some time off work to enjoy the holidays with her family, that's when I'm going to feel good, because I know that this has made a real difference. And we have a responsibility in our business, not just to show our beautiful products to our customers, but we also have a responsibility of talking about this opportunity. Because if we don't talk about it, people don't know. And would you think that there would be anyone out there in the community at the moment who would be looking for some extra income right now? I would guarantee there is. When you go to the petrol station and you've almost got to sell your youngest child for medical experiments to be able to pay for your fuel, then you know that people are hurting and people need that extra income. And we do have a responsibility to talk about that. Any questions on that? Or comments? No? Okay, we'll keep going. So set your goal. Put your empty spots in your diary. That's really important. And then decide what you want your rate of pay to be. Hold yourself accountable to your goal. Share it with as many people as you can, because a goal shared is a goal well on its way to being achieved. If you don't tell anyone about your goal, it's really easy to pretend you never set it. But when you share it, it's kind of like, well, maybe now I have to do something. Would you agree? I think we've all been in that position where we've said, I'm going to do this. And then you go, oh, did I just say that? Oh my God, I better have a plan because now I've got to do it. So the first step in this, of course, is to plan your diary. So you know now how many Christmas bookings you'll need to achieve your goal. The next step is to get your diary out and mark out all the spaces in your diary. This isn't rocket science. Mark out the spaces in your diary where you have an opportunity to go and do some Nutrimetics work, whether it be leaving the house or whether it be online on your computer using social media. But I don't mean just popping some posts up on social media. I mean actually connecting, doing a live, doing a presentation, doing a workshop. Putting a post up is fantastic, but it's not a booking, okay? But mark in your diary all the spaces you have, and that will tell you what sort of mix you need. So if you've got fewer spaces, you need to have more bookings with more people. If you've got lots of spaces, you can throw in a mix of U+2s plus bookings with a group of 5 or more. I'm going to be talking about other sorts of activities too, so you can plan your diary around what you think will be fun to do. If you don't think it's going to be fun, don't do it, because we're never drawn to things that aren't fun. And if you don't think some of these activities are fun, again, have a talk to your manager and talk about ways you can make them fun. If you booked a party with me, you would be most surprised, because I'm a bit of a goose at my parties. I don't like to come in and be the very professional beauty person. I like to come in and be one of the girls. So I like to pitch myself just a bit above where the group is, but not that much above. So I'm not there to lecture them. I'm not there to be a superstar. I'm there to be a bit of a dag and have some fun. And that's why, I'll talk about it in a minute, but, I always bring broccoli to my parties, and it always gets a laugh. And I always hand it over and say, that's part of my hostess gifting. But I'll explain why I do that later. And it is a guaranteed laugh. Okay. So create your prospect list and then contact them. I would suggest, if you're serious about earning some good money at Christmas, this is challenge 1 for the night. Challenge 1 is to put together your prospect list and then send it to your upline. And then that gives your upline permission to work with you on your prospect list and say, how did you go with Kathy? Have you had a booking with Sue yet? Did Sue prefer to have a couple of girls around, or is she happier to fill up her dining table for the better gift? So use it as a coaching opportunity. We love coaching. And when you're coached, you perform better. It's like a sport. And it's not that we're great coaches, it's just that then you become super accountable and you do things that you wouldn't do normally. So challenge number 1, send your prospect list to your upline. Today is Thursday. We'll let you have until Sunday after the launch. Okay, that's it. After that, you're in full work mode. So you've got a bit of time to put that prospect list together. Don't prejudge it. I once had someone and they said to me that they used the same list that they used for their wedding invitations. Now, if I use that now, I've been married 30 odd years, so that's too long, I think, if I haven't spoken to some of those people since then. However, have a look at the list that you did for your last birthday party, or if you're a bit older, for your kids' 21st, or whatever. Because if people are close enough to you to be invited, they're close enough to you to support you in your business. So I thought that was a really good tip, actually. And then be really clear on what you're offering. So again, just as I said, earning money is not about you. Earning money is about what you can do for the people you love. It's the same with your hostesses. It's not about you. It's not about you needing 16 bookings in your diary between now and Christmas. It's really about what it will do for them, because you have the opportunity of helping them create a better Christmas as well. And the gifting that we have to offer is second to none. So people say, what do I use? I use the company's gifts. So we have a choice of 2 beautiful gifts. One's more a skincare oriented one in the green clear bag. And the other one is the drawers. I said to Marilyn today, have you got your drawers? And I wasn't being rude. But it's the set of clear Perspex straws. They have got the biggest pulling power because there's some product with it as well. I have my people wanting them. My customers want them even without knowing that there's product. So that goes in as an extra. So it doesn't matter to me if the product changes in that. They just love that set of drawers. So just be really clear on that though. So my customers, my hostesses, get the hostess offer. They pay for it and they pay $40 for it. I don't go halves with them in that. But they don't have to do anything for that, except let me cross their threshold. So it's not dependent on sales. It's not dependent on bookings. So that is the gift. I think the fact that someone has allowed you into their home to conduct your business, because that is our workplace, needs to be rewarded and needs to be appreciated. So make that super special. So I do charge them $40 and they do pay up front. So they pay when at the point where they're booking, they pay. So when they're booking, I send them the 2 photos if I'm doing it, not doing it face-to-face, if I'm on the phone or if I'm doing it FaceTime. I'll pop up the 2 photos and together we choose which of those 2 gifts they prefer. And then what I say to them is, so that I can have that gift with me to give to you when I come to your place on the 15th, I'll need to take the payment for that. So I've got it in my hot little hands. I've never, ever once had anyone say no because they want it. Now, it is really important then when you go and do that booking that you have it with you. So you would have hers all wrapped up, but you also need to have one that you use. So when you've used both of those hostess gifts so that you're talking about the product in them and getting them excited about it, then excitement drives this business in all aspects, including our hostess. So that's what I offer. And then I also offer half price shopping. So if a hostess says to me, oh, but, do I have to have bookings for that? My answer always is, no, bookings is my job. Your job is to get your friends there. Once they're there, bookings is my job. And the same if they say, oh, do I have to have a certain amount in sales? I say, no, that's my job. Your job is to get them there. However, please don't say to them, come along, you don't have to buy anything. That's a bit of a killer. And I say that sort of with a funny laugh and whatever. So, but no, that's my job. So at the booking itself, that's when I offer half the value of the party at half price. So if it's $1,000, they get to choose $500 worth of product at half price. Now that is dependent on bookings. And when I'm doing the party and when I talk to the hostess, I will say, and with some bookings, Louise is also able to choose up to half the value of tonight's sales at half price. Isn't that fantastic, Louise? This is something new. The company's only just introduced. In the past, it was, here's your drawers on your way. But now we can extend it, and we have some other great offers as well, so you can choose. Now, when you are operating your business at 4,000 plus in sales, which you will all be doing over Christmas, you can do that half price shopping very easily. You're going to be getting 45%. So you might want to sacrifice 5% to put it through your BV, or you can use your coupons. I call them coupons, but you know what I'm talking about, your half price that you get as our product rebate alternative. I just wanted to say a couple of things about that. Firstly, I had a couple of consultants. Now, there wouldn't have been anyone on this call, and they certainly wouldn't have been consultants who are looking for a brighter future. I think they were consultants who were more introspective and looking at a brighter future internally rather than externally. But they were having a little bit of a whine about, oh, we don't have product rebate like we used to, and I feel like I'm being ripped off and blah, blah, blah. So I did explain that we didn't change our IT system because we wanted a few new pretty pictures. We changed it because the old one actually was about to break. It was terminally ill, and it was getting to the point where none of us would be paid. Now, can you imagine if it had been let go to the point where it did break and they couldn't pay anyone? Then you can whine. Okay, so that was point number one. Point number two, it is a beautiful website. We've just got to get used to walking around in it, but it's a beautiful website. Number three is that it's a website that's designed for direct selling companies. So as we progress, there'll be more and more features that will be added, which is super exciting. We've just got the basic pack at the moment. But one thing it wouldn't do was product rebate, because that was something that was particular to Nutrimetics. So that whole system just couldn't work in the new program. Now, Linda and the team could have just said, bad luck, so sad, we can't do product rebate anymore. But they worked really hard to find an alternative. And the alternative are the half price items. However, it swings and roundabouts. So, okay, we don't get 75% off, it's now half price, but it's half price off specials. It's half price on, so if something's already half price on the brochure, you get half of that off again. So you never used to, you get 75% off the full retail. So you're ahead for a start. So that's number one. Number two, you can double dip. So you can use your product rebate for half price products, and you can get a hostess offer. In the old system, you had to choose. So that's the second thing. The third thing is you can accumulate it. And I'll give you the big tip on this. Use advanced ordering. If you're not using it yet, go and teach yourself how to use it. There's tutorials on it. You can go and play around in it. You can't break it. Have a fiddle, have a play, set up your advanced ordering. Because once you've set up your advanced ordering, then it's easy to accumulate. And it shows you at the top how much that party is. So I set up a workshop. As soon as that workshop gets to 500, I close it and I set up the next one. Because if you look at how the half price accumulates, it's 1, 2, 3 at 500. It doesn't jump up again until 1,000. So it makes sense. Close it off at 500 and go back to 123. So I don't want to get 3 for 750 when I could have started again and I'm back getting my 123 on the way up to 500. So do that. The other thing is, look how many thank you gifts we get in a month now. Okay. I think the number of thank you gifts and gifting we get by far exceeds what we might have lost on our product rebates. So I know no one here would have felt that way, but I just wanted to throw that in because I have answered that question, as you can probably hear, on many occasions over the last few weeks. So you choose, though, you choose whether you want to get your half price on your product rebate or get your half price by purchasing it. It's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I like to have as fewer rules as possible. So we know with product rebate, we can't get items that are newer than 6 months. And the reason is purely stock levels, because with a new product, the company can't anticipate what the stock requirements will be. So they've just put a hold on that for 6 months. And we can't get sets. So if it begins with a 1-5 number, that's not eligible either. Nor's the brow pencil. I did try to get a couple of brow pencils for half price the other day, but it wouldn't let me. So Linda's still a bit nervous about the stock of her brow pencils. But yeah, I don't like to put rules on my hostesses. Again, let's just keep it simple. So I will give them a Christmas brochure. And if they want a set of, you know, I'm sure there'll be a candle, or I'm sure there'll be some soaps or a hand cream, because there are every year, they can have it for half price. Okay, because I can fiddle around. When I've got my order, then I can get something else for half price and then buy that set for them anyway. You know, and it all works around. So when you're ordering, just be a bit smart. If you're not sure about how to do that, I'm not talking to managers here because you know how to do that. But for consultants, if you're not quite sure how to fiddle it, just ask your manager and they will be able to do that for you. So be very clear on your offer and be very excited about your offer and get her excited about it as well. Okay, so once you've got a booking, then it is important. This is real old school stuff, you know, about hostess coaching, but everything old is new again, and it's still important, and it's particularly important at this time of the year. So make sure that she gets a catalogue. At least I like to give at least one of the big Christmas catalogues because they're usually spectacular. 4 small Christmas brochures. So there's your 5, because you're looking at a minimum of 5. Invitation. Now, this is something I prefer to do digitally. So I'll do it on my phone, send it to her, easy for her to send on. But I will ask her. So if she's a mum of young kids and they still meet up at the school gate of a night, well, then, yeah, she might want to hand out an invitation. So just be flexible with that. I give her a thank you card. My mum makes beautiful cards and she keeps me stocked in them. And so I just handwrite in that card just a few simple instructions, like, remember, we want as many girls as fit around your dining table. Please wait to serve your refreshments until I'm finished. And when I talk to her about that, I say, because really you know, while we like to have a dip and sip, it's not fun for me if the dip's in my product. So please hold it to the end. I also let her know that I will need to be using her kitchen sink, and could she please have a couple of hand towels there? Okay. Now, I say that because you don't want her to be embarrassed because all the lunch dishes are in there as well. And I ask her for a towel because if I bring a towel, I've got to bring one for everyone. But if she supplies it, we don't have to worry about that. So again, I take the path of least resistance. So when you get her excited about the get together and the rewards that she's going to receive, she really becomes your partner in this. And as I mentioned before, she's already chosen which of those hostess offers she wants, and she's paid you the $40 for that. So you're not going to get a lot of movement there. Even at Christmas, you're not going to get a lot of movement. And if you do, it's usually going to be a postponement rather than a movement. I'll just tell them I'm too busy to come and see them to give them back their $40. So they better have the party. But so does that all make sense? Yep. So this really is, I've said for each face-to-face hostess, but if you're doing an online, you need to do a version of this for your online party as well. But you might still want to send out a brochure to her, but obviously you're not going to send brochures out to all of her guests at their individual addresses. Okay, so let's just have I'm just looking at the time here. We'll have a look at a few fun booking ideas. So the one that I'm really, really excited about, and I'm going to be working with this year, is Santa's Workshop. Because, you know, we all stumble over, is it a party? Is it a show? Is it a workshop? Is it a treatment? What is it? I don't care what it is, as long as 5 people are around the dining table. So when I was thinking about that, I thought, I'm just going to call it Santa's Workshop. So let me come and do a Santa's Workshop for you and your friends. So it is just like any other booking you would do. Really, it's no different, except the range you're going to focus on is the Christmas range. Really important, though, to demo the colour that's in. You won't sell Christmas colour if you don't demo it. So it's really important to demo that Christmas colour. And when I do, I'll just quickly tell you what my format is, because as I said before, I take the line of least resistance. So you will not see a beautiful display come from me, because that's not my thing. So I don't do a display, I do a build as you go display, but I start off at the kitchen sink, which is why I ask them to go to the kitchen sink. So what I do at the kitchen sink is the old-fashioned do one hand. And I like to do that because it gets rid of any awkwardness. If you're there early and then one arrives and then there's a gap and then another couple arrive. And I just actually get to touch, feel, look them in the eyeball before we sit down and do anything. And I feel it just helps to build that rapport and create that energy. So whatever product is in the Christmas catalogue is what I'll do on their hand. So, you know, there'll be, if there's no hand scrub, there'll be an exfoliator of some description. I don't care if it's a microderm that I put on their hand, but it'll be something that I want to promote that night. So just be flexible with what you use. Odds are there's going to be a body satin in the Christmas brochure, because I can't remember a Christmas past where there hasn't been. So that's always a good thing to finish with. Give them a bit of a spray of the good old sex in a can. That gets a laugh. Tell them why it's called that. Also tell them that that's fantastic for any hidden tattoos they might have. Usually get a laugh with that. I say it's been great for mine. And then they look at me differently with a bit of wonder in their eyes. I don't have any, but if I did, I would use body satin on it. So I do that. Once everyone's in, they're there, they're gathered. As I'm clearing up the sink, I just, as if it's an afterthought, I go, oh, hang on a minute. Before we go to the table, can you just gather back here for a sec? So they come in, I get my 2 bits of broccoli. I hold up one piece and say, now, who washes their fruit and veggies before they eat them? So every hand goes up. So I just pick one. Usually by then, you know, the one that's a bit of fun, have a bit of a go with you. So I pick someone and say, okay, Lucia, show me how you wash your broccoli. Now, invariably, Lucia will pop it under the running water and she's washed her broccoli. I thank her very much, give it a shake, put it on the sink. Then I say, let me show you how I wash my broccoli. I put some OLC in the sink. You know the trick, swirl it around while I'm explaining what I'm doing. I explain about pesticides. I explain about broccoli. You know, it's out in the rain. They don't want the pesticides, the herbicides, and even the food they feed it. They don't want that all running off. So they wax it to lock it all in. So I say, have a look at this, have a look at this. One's green, one's grey. The one that Lucia's washed, the water beads over the top. The one that I've washed, the water runs through. So I do the quick ad there for OLC. I hand my 2 bits of broccoli to my hostess and say, and as an extra hostess gift, anyone that books with me gets part of their fruit and veg for the week. So go and pop these in your fridge. So we finish off with that and then we go to the table. Now, when I get to the end and I'm taking my orders, I always have my bottle of OLC beside me. I've taken the order, I've finished the order, and the very last thing I ask them is, I'd say, now, Lucia, are we going to, and I'll have my OLC there, I'll say, now, Lucia, are we going to stop poisoning your family? Now, you say it tongue in cheek, you say it with a bit of a laugh, but it's a very hard question to say no to. Oh, no, I think I'll keep poisoning mine. Thanks. I don't really like them that much. Okay, so that you add up the extra sales that gives you. Even if it's just the 500 ml pump pack, they're going to keep coming back. Our cleaning products are excellent repeat sales, and we got that beautiful new booklet now online for that, which is spectacular. If you haven't seen it, make sure you have a look at it. So that's my cleaning products ad. That will still happen at Christmas. And until the end of October, they're on special anyway. So the work we do for this month largely, we'll have those things on special. So that's our Santa's workshop, our champagne shopping hour. This is one that we've all done in some way, shape or form. We talk about it being a quick shopping hour, shop on your seat, not shop on your feet. It's very relaxed. You can have a champers, you can have a cuppa. And really, it's just about the Christmas brochure and the Christmas products. It's very quick. So they have a look, you might demo a bit on the back of their hand. And that's pretty much what I do, even in my regular Santa's workshop or my regular workshops. I don't do a face. It all goes on the back of their hands, on their arms. And I always say I love summer because I can give you even more product to try because we're going to whack some on your legs. So the more product they get on their skin, the better, rather than one hostess getting everything and everyone else is, losing the will to live after about a half an hour. So let everyone experience it and everyone join in. And then as I use my product, it builds beside me. And there's my display by the end sitting there beside me. I know Chris Mett's probably horrified by that because she does beautiful work, demos and displays. But see, that's the beauty of Nutrimetics. We can all do it our own way. So with our champagne shopping hour, make sure you book all your family and friends in for that. When you're going through your prospect list, if they're not interested for whatever reason in a Santa's workshop, say, look, that's fine. I'll just pop you down for a champagne shopping hour instead, and I'll bring the champagne. How does that sound? Because you know what women are like? We hate saying no. And if we've just said no to something, we're highly likely to say yes to the next. It's an innate thing with women, so take advantage of that. Make sure the second thing you ask for is equally as attractive as the first. Now, I put an asterisk on those because both of those can be done face-to-face or they can be done online as well, okay? And if there are consultants here who are unfamiliar with doing things online, again, please speak with your upline because we became bits of experts on that forcibly through COVID. Okay, Christmas pop-ins. So these can be either at work or at home. So this is a great way to get your Christmas preview pack working even when you're not working. That Christmas preview pack is the best investment you'll make. One of the advantages of being a manager is we can get two. So become a manager quickly and you can get two as well, because then you've got two to go out and work for you when you're not working. So if you're doing it in a workplace, depends on the workplace. So it might be a bank. If it's a bank, it would go in the staff room. I would have it in a nice box or a bag. Lucia and I have shared pictures of our boxes that we're using this year. But do it in some way, shape or form. Have a representation of the product. Have spatulas if you're leaving creams. So have your product there and order forms and some brochures. Put someone in charge though and offer them a gift. So they're like a bit of a quasi hostess. So it might be that they can choose anything out of the Christmas brochure and they can have that at half price. Or you might have something in the cupboard, it might be a thank you gift you've got or something like that that you can wrap up beautifully and offer to give them. But have someone who's responsible for it. And that can be in a lunchroom at school. Hospitals are a great place to leave it. Think about where you've got contacts, because if you know someone somewhere, they're more likely to give you a hand to pop it in and make it work for you. But you can also do it in your customers' homes. So if you're doing a delivery, why not take it with you? Before you do your delivery, you can ask her if she's got anything coming up in the next day or two. If she says, oh, I've got some friends coming over for coffee tomorrow afternoon. Look, I'm quite happy. I'll leave the Christmas product with you and I'll call by and pick it up on Saturday. And if the girls want anything, they can order it. I do a customer reward program for my customers. So I would say, I'll put it through your account and you'll get all the rewards for it. How does that sound? So whatever you do, I'll give you a gift. I will give you a further discount, a half price product, whatever works for you. So lunchroom stuff for schools and kinders are great. Fantastic place to go and pop them in. And while you're talking to them about putting that in for the staff, remember to mention fundraising, because our advanced ordering has an inbuilt fundraising system where we can set up events for fundraising really simply. So remember to be promoting that. Wherever men are. Men hate Christmas shopping by and large, and they usually don't know what to buy. So let's save their poor little souls all that angst and help them out at Christmas time. And this is where you might want to put together 2 or 3 different packages. It's no point putting a basket of product in where men are, because they'd have no idea what they're looking at. And I know I'm making a generalization. And when Adam watches this back, he'll be ashamed of me. But I'm talking about the men who aren't into skincare and cosmetics for themselves. So if you put together a small, medium and large, what often happens is you'll get more orders for the large because the other guys edge the other guys on and say, oh, you're skint, you're a skinflint, you've been mean, you won't get what you're after for Christmas this year if you're only getting the little pack. So all of that banter goes on and it's quite profitable. But don't just turn up at a panel beaters or don't just turn up at a warehouse or a factory. Do a drive around in your industrial area, have a look for the places you think a lot of men might be working, and phone first, because they hate it when people drop in and they won't give you the time of day. And I don't blame them, really, you're interrupting work. But if you ring and explain what you want to do, then they'll often be very happy to see you, because there's your point of difference. People don't ring. When you ring and you're polite and you explain and you offer something. Now, when I do that, I always ask if they have a social club, if they've got something planned for Christmas, and I offer them something they can raffle to make a bit of extra money towards their social club. Or some businesses have a charity they support, so I will do that as well. And that tends to be a good conversation starter when you're getting into those places. Okay, you can read all of these when you get the other things. They're quite self-explanatory. A Christmas showcase. Now, this is held at your home. So all this is a Santa's workshop at your place and you're the hostess. So if you've got people who, for whatever reason, don't want to have something in their home, then you can invite them to your home, but do it at a given time. So it would be like from 2 till 4, come in, we'll have a Santa's workshop. Whoever places an order will go into the drawer and they will get the hostess gifting. Okay, so you have a mystery hostess at that sort of thing. And then the Christmas open house is also at your house, and as it says, but I like to do a Christmas open house, so it's rather than a designated time, it's a drop in between. So, it's any time between this time and this time. And I enjoy it because it gives me a chance to really catch up with some customers that I might not have seen for a while. And it's always a nice social occasion. So always remember to book your new year up now. So we don't want to focus just on Christmas. We want that momentum to keep carrying. So every booking you do leading up to Christmas is an opportunity for you to get a booking into the new year. Every hostess that you have, whether it's with 2 friends or 5 friends, whether it's online or face-to-face, needs to go into your diary for the new year. And this year I'll be using the idea of a New Year hangover cure. So Nutrimetics is the perfect antidote for minds, for bodies, and for skin. And it will help with that New Year hangover. The New Year hangover, you've had all the hype for Christmas. It's been exciting. You prepared the food, you've had the visitors, and now they're gone and the house is quiet and it's almost like your goal's been reached, and it's that bit of deflation. Well, I think we're all familiar with that sort of feeling. So we're not the only ones that would feel that. So let's cure that New Year hangover. Or you could do the New Year, New You if it's more into a colour workshop that you would love to do. So make sure you book that in. Think about what you might offer for that. There could be something fabulous in the Christmas brochure that sits in for that. You might want to pre-purchase that as a hostess gift. That often works well because if they love something but they've reached their spending limit for Christmas, you can often say, what about if I bought that, wrapped it up, and that would be your gift for having a few friends over in the new year for a New Year hangover cure. Okay, so just being a bit creative with what you're offering. So that's all of my boring slides. And I'm just going, when I was talking to Louise, she said a few things she wanted me to say. So I'm just going to check now, Louise, and make sure that I've been good. Oh, of course, we did mention about earning income with Nutrimetics and how critical that is at the moment because a lot of people have a need. So remember, whether it's at your Santa's workshop, whether it's at your pop-in, whether it's at your own open house, whatever the event is that you're holding, remember to talk about the opportunity to earn some extra income. And it could be as simple as, who would be interested in finding out a bit more about how they could have their petrol paid for every month? Could be as simple as that. Just needs to be an open question. And look, keep your eyes open, because the ones, I just saw people nodding. You'll see people nodding. Nodding is the big clue. And you know what? I'm a nodder, because when I nod, people nod. Have you noticed when you see a parliamentarian on the news, they have all the nodders behind them? They're going like that because subliminally they want you to agree with what they're saying. So they actually pay people to stand behind them and do that. Keep your eye on it in future, you'll notice. So in fact, Jacinta Allen was a very big nodder, and now look, she's got the top job because she was such a good nodder. So be a good nodder. When I smile and nod, people smile and nod back. And it's very hard to say no when you're doing this. So when I ask, I'm sure you would love to have your friends over. We can do a bit of a Santa's workshop, show them some Christmas, and you'll get the opportunity to do some of your Christmas shopping at half price. How does that sound? It's hard, isn't it? It's hard to say no when they're already nodding. So be a good nodder. Don't be shy of talking about Nutrimetics as an income opportunity. That's our point of difference. We have two major points of difference. One is our customer service. Be the most outstanding customer service person you can be. In the New End Central, there's some beautiful features. One of the things I love is in your customer center, when you bring up a customer, there's room for you to make notes. Okay, so use that. Put your notes for your customer. They're all in one place. I do my notes and then I just go straight in and do their order. It's so quick and easy. I love it. No more do I have my big Sunday night ordering night where I've got them all there and I've got to work it all out and do it. It's great. So keep notes in there about your customers. Be the best customer service person. That's our first unique point of difference. Our second unique point of difference, I'm not even counting the fact that we have the best product, because that's a gimme. We know that. But a lot of people have a good product. So, we can't rest all our laurels on our product. I think it's the best product in the world. It's our customer service and it's our opportunity. It's the opportunity to make a real difference in someone else's life. That doesn't happen at Priceline, and that doesn't happen with Mac products. But it certainly happens with Nutrimetics, but only when you talk about it, only when you share it, only when you ask questions like, what difference would an extra $200, $300, $500 a week make to you and your family? And when you say it quickly like that, you've jumped from 2 to 500 like that, 2, 3, 500. It's like having 3, 4, 5 girls around the dining table. Okay, so it's in how you say it. Now, practice your words so that they flow. The only reason mine flow is that I practice and I say it a lot. The more you do it, the more fluent you are. And it's the same when you're talking about the opportunity. The more you talk about it, the more fluent you are. But the best thing to do when you talk about the opportunity is be a good listener, be a good observer. Be a good understander of human nature. Watch for the clues and then match what you're saying to the clues with genuine concern for that person. Do you know, and for those of you who know me, you've heard me say this 100 million times, but some people worry that when they talk about the business that they're being pushy, or when they talk about the product, they're being pushy, or when they talk about bookings, they're being pushy, and there's this incredible fear of being pushy. But I want to share with you that you can only ever be pushy when you are more concerned about yourself than that person you're talking with. If you come from a pure place, if you're not inherently selfish, you're not pushy, and you can't be pushy. It's impossible for you to be pushy. Okay, but if you don't mention some of the fantastic points of difference with Nutrimetics, you're being irresponsible. That's when you're being selfish, because you're worried about what someone else might think of you rather than what they might think of what you're talking about, what you've got to offer. No one in Nutrimetics has ever had to go to the emergency department because they spoke about their business opportunity. No one's been assaulted. No one's been insulted. We fabricate this story in our mind. In fact, if you think about who spoke to you about it the first time, I bet you're grateful. So why wouldn't someone be grateful to you? Isn't it funny? We do play awful tricks in our own head. We're sometimes our own worst enemy. I've talked about that. I reckon I'm done, Louise. I can't hear
keep
you.
on listening, Lee, but I think you have ticked all the boxes on that. And what I also loved about chatting with you and your presentation tonight was that every hostess, rebook the hostess, think about the new year, pop them into January and get those bookings started for January. And the time to organize that is now.
Mm-hmm.
And one extra thing that I love doing, if they don't want to feel brand new in January, would they like to have something then in February or March while we've got the warm weather on? Or would they like something, it could be a mask and meditation when the cooler weather starts. And if they can't see any other time they can rebook them for Christmas next year, Lee.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the very least on anything you do, is to walk away with a Christmas booking, because when you're that busy, you need to book early.
Mm. You certainly do. I just love it. I love the whole presentation, Lee. I think we need exactly that presentation at conference, actually. I really, really do, because that's getting back to the real basics of our business. And I believe that sponsoring and selling comes with the bookings. That it's not very hard to sell the product if you're passing them around and you're enthusiastic about it. And what I just loved is your enthusiasm and sense of humor. I love the giving them the present of the broccoli. I love them asking them how they would feel about having money for their petrol every month. I agree with that. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get my head around asking them if they want to keep poisoning their family, but I do think it's hilarious. And I think we have a lot of actresses out there who could say it absolutely beautifully, as well as you do. But I do think that if you built the rapport by scrubbing their hand and putting body satin on and the other 100 products that we have for the body, they will sense your sense of humor. So absolutely love it. I always remember learning from Terry Jones with the honey and almond scrub, which is now our tropical fruits mask and scrub, which I use that as a lip scrub all the time. I love it. And she used to say, now, girls, what you do is you use your honey and almond scrub very gently, like two porcupines making love. Well, I joined when I was 25 and one didn't speak about things like that. And I nearly died of embarrassment when she said that. Sue Roach is killing herself laughing. She'll remember Vicky and Terry saying that. But I just decided if Terry could say it, I could say it, and people would just crack up and they would buy honey and almond scrub. So be funny, entertain them, and two things, you either be a bit of a comedian or you be a teacher, whatever works for you.
That's right.
And I think you do both extremely well, Lee. And your skin looks amazing. Beautiful
Thanks.
products.
I love vitamin C. The vitamin C, I think, is doing it at the moment.
Oh, all of our skins are looking brighter and more exfoliated, and mine is the vitamin B. I am just, everybody in the whole world, if you haven't added B to your routine, you have to add it. And I love the other thing, one thing you didn't tell them that got me thinking is that you love your platinum toning essence, and then you make a bit of a cocktail. So Leah's into wine and cocktails, just in case you haven't noticed. It often happens to come up in a conversation. So she does a cocktail of everything: vitamin C, moisturizing system. Does the platinum night oil go in the cocktail, or
no, that's a separate cocktail. That's my nighttime cocktail.
Oh.
This is my morning cocktail, my wake me up cocktail. So I share this when I'm in front of my customers too, because I said, don't be frightened about using multiple products, and you don't have to use them one after the other. And so I just shared that I love platinum, the platinum toning essence. I'm absolutely addicted to. I think it's just so beautiful. So I have that, and then I just sort of pick and choose what I might like to pop in there. So I always have, I've got vitamin B, and then I use my Nutri-Rich my gold drops, the beauty balm, the Nutri-Rich beauty balm, because I've got to have a bit of Nutri-Rich.
Is it the beauty elixir?
That's the one. I've got to have a bit of Nutri-Rich oil in some way, shape or form on my skin. So I put a bit of that in as well. Now I do put 1 or 2 drops of moisturizing system in there too. And then that goes on my face, and then I brush my teeth. You know, you get into the routine. So then I brush my teeth. By the time I brush my teeth, and it goes, you know, all the way down. So I've got plenty to work with there. And then after I brush my teeth, it's usually the vitamin C cream that goes on next, because that feels like a glass of orange juice after I've just brushed my teeth. So I pop that on, and then I must confess that I do like to use then the Aqua Supply booster. And I know I've used 2 moisturizing boosters, but I reckon that's why my skin looks good, because I'm so plumped out. If you put a needle near me, I'd just explode like a water balloon. I just keep putting that moisture in. And then, of course, you know, it's time for whatever you're using. So day cream, DNA cream, got to have my platinum type permanent fill on before that too. That usually goes on then. Or sometimes I leave that and put it on just before I put my makeup on. If I'm not going out for a while and I'm putting my makeup on at 11 o'clock, then I'll whack on the type permanent fill then. But I love being a Nutrimetics consultant because I can. You know, isn't that a great advantage? We can use them all.
Exactly.
But I do tell them, I don't tell them about everything I use, because they will think I'm a little bit on the weird side. But I do talk about just mixing 2 or 3 things in with your toner, so that, you know, it's one step. So I make it very easy for them.
I just love everything you've said. And I love the cocktail analogy, because I think well, Adam puts a cocktail on his skin every single day. He uses every single serum that we have in the whole world. And every time I look at him, he's got some sort of mask on. He's running around the house with a mask on. He's the biggest skincare guru. So thank you, Lee. Thank you so much. The ball is in your court, everyone. Let's make that prospect list. Let's get those bookings happening. And the more excited you are when you smile and ask over the phone, or when you send that text and do that love emoji, and the more that I know that when you ask them for a get together, they are going to benefit more than you do. They are going to thank you so much. So please have your courage, be brave, and go out there and make the next 3 months great. And more importantly, set yourself up for the new year. And can I just have a show of hands, or will all of you promise me, put your hand on your heart, that you're coming to conference with Lee and I in February, and that you'll make the extra $1,000 that you'll need to cover your costs? But what it will do for your mindset and your brain and your whole mental peace with yourself, and listening to that international speaker, that will just really get you feeling great about yourself. That's what's worth the investment. Sometimes we'll buy some, my friend Afka Gerzik used to say, parents will buy the $300 Levi jeans for their sons, but they won't shout themselves a trip to conference, which will make them a better parent, a better adult, a better human being, and better at Nutrimetics. So please come, everyone. Absolutely for you. Come for you. Okay. Thanks, Lee. Thanks, everyone. And
Thanks, everyone.
lots
Bye.
of love.
Thanks,
And
Lee.
have fun on Sunday and with all your Christmas lunches.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.